Get ready, because today we're going to focus on building character relationships that are meaningful and believable. And specifically, we're going to focus on relationships that are not romantic. By the way, my name is Brandon McNulty. I'm the author of Bad Parts, also the author of Entry Wounds, and welcome to my writing channel. One of my subscribers requested a video on the subject of character relationships. And the problem that he was having was that he knew where he wanted the character relationship to start, and he also knew where it was supposed to end, but the middle part was giving him some trouble. So today I'm going to share with you some tips on how to flesh out your character relationships, how to build them, how to make them work over a course of a story. And we'll take some examples from popular movies including Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Gran Torino, and Thelma and Louise. Be wary of spoilers. I will be spoiling some of these movies, so if you plan on seeing them, now might be the time to do so. But let's get right to it. Step one, we've already talked about it a little bit. Step one is to know your beginning and your ending for the relationship, especially the ending. You want to know the ending because that gives you something to shoot for. If you know that the characters will overcome their differences and learn to become friends, there you go. You know what to shoot for. On the other hand, you might have a situation where the characters fail to become friends and they end up killing each other at the end, or they end up going their separate ways, or whatever it may be. But you need to know your beginning and your ending because that will help you focus your story and focus this particular relationship. Usually relationships will begin with characters distrusting one another, maybe even hating one another, and then over the course of the story they grow until the ending, in which characters usually will overcome their differences and become great friends. Step number two is to know your character's strengths and weaknesses. And this is because character growth depends on characters challenging each other to do better. For instance, in Star Wars, Luke Skywalker is idealistic. That's one of his strengths. But that idealism tends to spill over, and it causes him to be naive, which would be a weakness of his. Now, on the other hand, Han Solo is experienced. That would be his strength. He's seen a lot of action through the years. He knows what the galaxy is about. He knows how to navigate things. He knows how to swindle people, whatever it may be. He's also very cynical as a result of this experience, which would be his flaw. And it's interesting that these two characters balance each other out over the course of the original movie. And toward the end, Luke displays his strength of idealism while he's appealing to Han Solo's strength of experience. Another example of this comes from Gran Torino. The main character, Walt Kowalski, is a tough old man. His toughness would be his strength, but that toughness also causes him to become a misanthrope, and he hates everyone in his life, including his own kids. Now, the other main character in Gran Torino is Tao, who is Walt's neighbor. And Tao is somebody who is willing to help others, which would be a strength of his, but that willingness to help others also causes him to be a pushover, causes him to be a bit of a wimp, he's weak-willed. These types of flaws balance out over the course of the story as Walt interacts with him and uses his strength of toughness to help toughen up Tao. Now, step number three is to find a unifying purpose. And this is something that keeps the characters together because, again, usually when characters first meet, they don't trust each other, or they hate each other, or they don't want anything to do with each other. So there needs to be some kind of glue that holds these people together long enough for the relationship to develop. In Star Wars, Luke and Han need each other. Luke needs a ride to Alderaan. Han needs money to pay off a debt. Later on, Luke needs to save Leia. He needs help from Han, and Han goes along with it because of the potential reward involved. In Lord of the Rings, Frodo and Sam need each other because Frodo needs to take the ring to Mordor, but he can't make the trip alone because it's too dangerous. Sam, on the other hand, needs to support Frodo because Sam has a strong sense of loyalty and duty. In Thelma and Louise, Louise needs to flee the country after shooting a man in the heat of the moment. She fears that she'll be charged with murder, she'll go to jail, she doesn't want that, she wants to flee to Mexico. And Thelma, although she doesn't want to go to Mexico, she feels the need to stick by her friend until Louise is safe. Now, step number four would be bonding moments. And these are moments where characters face and overcome adversity together. They also might be moments where characters just have a good time together. You need these types of moments in your story in order to sell the idea that the relationship is developing, that these characters do want to be around one another. In Star Wars, we see Luke and Han bonding when they're strategizing a rescue plan, when they're escaping the Death Star, when they're shooting down TIE fighters. In Lord of the Rings, we see Frodo and Sam bonding when they support each other, when they watch each other's backs, when they save each other's lives. In Gran Torino, we see Walt and Tao bonding when Walt shows Tao how to use tools, how to get a job. He shows him how to act like a man. And Tao also looks out for Walt's health and well-being, and he's also there to support Walt by giving him a sense of family. And in Thelma and Louise, we see the two main characters bonding with each other as they're fleeing the cops, joyriding across the country, and bailing each other out of trouble. And the fifth and final step is sacrifice. This is what gets the relationship to that final stage, to that ending. And if you know your ending, the last step is to show one or both characters making a sacrifice in order to solidify the relationship. For instance, in Star Wars, Han sacrifices his safety as well as his reward in order to save Luke during the Death Star battle. In Lord of the Rings, Sam sacrifices his life and his safety multiple times in order to save Frodo and help Frodo complete his journey. In Gran Torino, Walt sacrifices his life to protect Tao's family from the gang that's been threatening them. And in Thelma and Louise, Thelma sacrifices her clean record and commits crimes in order to help Louise on her journey. And then later on, Thelma suggests that they both sacrifice their lives in order to avoid being captured. So the key things to remember here, make sure right up front that you're aware of how the relationship begins, how it ends. Also be sure of character strengths and flaws, and then come up with some kind of unifying purpose to keep the characters together so that they can have some bonding moments as they work toward that sacrifice near the end. So I hope this helps. Question of the day, what is your favorite non-romantic relationship from a movie? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, please pick up a copy of either one of my books. Bad Parts is great if you like small town horror. It's about people trading away their sick and injured body parts in order to get healthy again. And if you like thrillers, check out Entry Wounds. It's about a guy who picks up a haunted gun and he learns that he can't put it down until he kills 6 people with it. Also, be sure to check out my other videos. Hit the like and subscribe buttons for me. Share this video with a friend. And as always, remember to keep on writing.